Hello there guys and welcome back to a brand new video on my channel. In today's video we are going to be discussing Lampard's Chelsea and how they can actually set up in terms of personnel. We've already been through the tactics, we've already looked at some players to look out for, so we're going to be putting all of that and then transferring it into a video where we can now look at formation and also the whole squad in its entirety. I've basically now watched all three pre-season friendlies and I've got an idea of who needs to stay, who needs to go and who needs to play in each position and what sort of formation we are going to be setting up with next season. So this is a video for you Chelsea fans out there to basically think, right, who's going to be in this squad next season? And I'm going to be going through each position, letting you guys know who's going to be staying, who's going to be going, and also who I would be starting and who I would be selling up until the first game, that is of course away at Old Trafford to Manchester United. So with this of course we're going to be going through each position, and that's going to be starting with of course the goalkeeper, actually the easiest of all the positions today to discuss. It's very simple. It's Kepa the starter and it's Willy Caballero as a substitute. It's simple. There's Jamie coming in and we've watched a bit of him in pre-season. He's looked alright, conceded one goal against Bohemians in the last minute but couldn't really do much about it, and that's all, you know. I don't see him being in the first team next season, and I would definitely let him be in the youth team too to get some experience, you know, with some of the youth coaches, and that could be good for him. So yeah, starting goalkeepers, Kepa is number one, Caballero, who's looked good actually in pre-season so far, as the number two. On to right backs. It's a really interesting debate in my opinion because we've got three right now in my opinion that are in contention. Dujon Sterling is out the window. He played the first game against Bohemians but didn't look good at all. So yeah, I can see him either being loaned out or sold or even kept in the reserve team. I can see him being loaned out. Unless a buyer comes in. But we've basically got Azpilicueta, who you'd expect to start. We've got Zappacosta, of course, who's also been featuring quite a bit in pre-season. And then we've got Reece James, the starlet that people have definitely been talking about over this summer. A lot of Chelsea fans wanting him to be starting. And after watching a lot of Azpilicueta and Zappacosta in pre-season, I have to agree with the fact that Reece James should be our starting right back. I know it's a weird one, I know he only played for Wigan last season, but the guy's a monster. If you go and watch some of the Wigan games last season, you'll know, you know, he won Wigan Player of the Year, he was absolutely epic for them in that right back spot, and he's kind of everything I feel Lampard would want, and also I feel as a Chelsea fan, you know, watching for almost a decade now, it's everything Chelsea would want in a full-back. Kind of reminds me to Ivanovic the way he drives on, but he's also got that little more finesse about him. You know, he's been taking free kicks for Wigan. He's very good at crossing, and that's something we've been missing big time, especially if we're going to have a big man like Olivier Giroud up front, which of course, no spoilers who I want up front, we'll be getting onto that later. But in my opinion, we need to be selling Zappacosta. I know it's a weird one. I can really see him staying, guys. That's what I will say about the Zappacosta situation. I'd say I would probably sell him and then have Reece James and Azpilicueta as our two fullbacks, but I can see all three staying for now, simply because Reece James at the start of the season is going to be injured. So yeah, I can see Azpilicueta being our starter. I can also see it as Zappacosta getting some apps in and amongst there, but I feel as if Reece James comes back and impresses, he should be our starting right back. Big call, I know, but I feel as if that's where we need to go with this club right now. If you're playing well, they need to start. Forget about the name, forget about the age, forget about the past. If you're the best right back of the club, they need to be starting, and I personally feel, I haven't watched Reece James for Chelsea yet, of course. He's been injured, which is a real shame. This pre-season could have been massive for him, but when he comes back, let him prove himself, let him become this club's right back. Having said that, I can see both Zappacosta and Azpilicueta getting a lot of starts this season. Into the centre-back position, we've actually got 5 on our radar right now, and I don't think there's actually any others. So we've got Luiz and Rudiger, of course. Rudiger's out injured. We've even got Zuma and Christensen underneath them, and then of course also Fikayo Tomori, who in my opinion has looked very good in pre-season. I've been super impressed with him. He didn't get any minutes in today's game against Kawasaki Frontale, but you know, I don't know, maybe that's because the opposition was good and Lampard didn't want to risk it, but we ended up losing anyway, so maybe he should have. But yeah, I've been impressed with Tomori's played so far this season, very comfortable on the ball. And I can see him staying because I feel as if Lampard will want 4 centre-backs at the club, but he can't have that right now. Because of course Rudiger's injured and he can't get rid of either Zuma or Tomori, because that would then only leave us with 3 fit centre-backs right now. So I feel as if in total we'll have 5. We'll have Rudiger, Luiz, Christensen, Zuma and Tomori. Centre-back isn't that big of an issue right now. I feel as if I'm very happy with all 5 of them actually. And in terms of starters, I'd probably end up starting Rudiger and David Luiz, but I'll come on to my full starting 11 at the end of the video. We're just going through position by position now. Who's going to be in the club, who's not? And in my opinion, those are the 5 centre-backs for this season. I can't see any of them going, and I'd be very happy if we actually ended up keeping all 5, in my personal opinion. And now to finish off the defence here at left-back, we've of course got Marcos Alonso and Emerson. In my opinion, Emerson has to be the starter here. He looks very good for Chelsea these days, and when he first signed, I wasn't really expecting much of him. Maybe to be sold in the next year or so, but he's really taken that left-back spot by the scruff of the neck. Alonso's dropped off massively in recent years, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to sell him. And in terms of other players coming through, we saw Ian Martson the other day. He looked very impressive, didn't he? But he didn't have a visa in time to travel to Japan. A little bit of a shame in my opinion, but could he be coming through to the first team this season? Maybe in a cup game, but in terms of our 2 left-backs, in my opinion, it's going to be pretty simple. Emerson and Marcos Alonso. Now onto the midfield. This is where it gets most interesting. I'm going to be discussing the CDM spots and also the central attacking midfielder spot. So basically all central midfield players is what's going to be in this list. Number 1, Jorginho. He's going to be staying for sure, and he should be a starter for sure. Lampard also has some nice things to say about Jorginho the other day, which I really liked, kind of shutting up some of those Chelsea fans who were criticising him. He's already proving in pre-season how important he is for this Chelsea side. One of the only performing players. Him and Mateo Kovacic, actually, who's another one who I would just speak about now, might as well. He should be staying. We recently signed him. Of course he's going to be staying. I know it's obvious, but he's going to be starting a lot of games in my opinion too. Maybe even next to Jorginho. Kante, of course, he's going to be there for us next season. We haven't seen him yet in pre-season. Maybe we'll be able to see him in the Barcelona game in the coming days. That's going to be Tuesday morning for any of you Chelsea fans wondering, 11:30 AM UK time. If you fancy checking it out. But yeah, 3 midfielders who are going to be kind of our defensive. So we're playing that 4-2-3-1 shape. I'd expect Jorginho and Kante to be in there, or even Kovacic can fit in there. And then we've also got a load of attacking options, which is really exciting in my opinion. We've got Loftus-Cheek, we've got Ross Barkley, and we've got Mason Mount. Out of the 6 midfielders I've just mentioned in total there, including Jorginho, Kovacic and Kante, in my opinion, those should be our 6 midfielders for the season, but I can't see it happening like that. I can see Loftus-Cheek staying, of course. I can see Mason Mount staying also. I'm really interested to see what he can do for us next season, and I'm also expected to see Ross Barkley remain at the club and also get regular minutes. The reason we'll have 3 central attacking midfielders, you guys are probably wondering, isn't that a bit too much? But it's a similar situation to the centre-back one, where Rudiger's out injured now. For this time being, for this couple of months when they're injured, we need backup, and that's what Mount and Barkley will give us. So expect Barkley to get a lot of minutes at the start of the season. But I've also had here written down a load of names that I think Lampard could also be in contention next season, as well as the 6 I've just mentioned, who in my opinion will be certain players who are going to be staying. Drinkwater being number 1. In my opinion, I don't know if this is just me, but I think Lampard really likes the look of Drinkwater. I personally just don't think he's good at all. I think he needs to be got out of this club now. But I think Lampard's going to be keeping Danny Drinkwater. Now that's a weird one, but I do think that is the case. Bakayoko, in my opinion, is going to be going. He's just not at the level, guys, and I think PSG will snap him up. And Van Hingle, I thought I'd write him down. What on earth has happened to his career? Such a good player, but every time he goes on loan to PSV, sorry, should I say, does wonders. But too many year-long injuries, getting a bit ridiculous now. So I can't see him remaining. Casey Palmer, he's on the tour right now, but again, I haven't been impressed with him. He should be leaving to Swansea or Bristol City in the coming month. And then of course, little Billy Gilmore. I'm really excited to see what we can see about him. And basically see, how his progression develops this season as a Chelsea player. He should probably be in some of those youth sides. I think it's important for him to be in the youth, and then when Lampard wants him to train with the first team, he can, and that'll be vital for Gilmore's experience. So we've got those 6 midfielders that I mentioned there, who I think will be starting, in the 2 central midfield spots and also in the central attacking midfield spot. Of course, it should be occupied by the likes of Mount, Loftus-Cheek and Barkley. But there's also names like Drinkwater and Gilmore, who I personally believe Lampard will be using a lot this season. I could be wrong. Hopefully Lampard ends up deciding to get rid of Drinkwater. But as of now, I think he quite likes it. One thing to know on having that many midfielders too, we could be looking at 7 or 8 this season, is also because, we saw that diamond formation in the game against St Patrick's Athletic, where we won 4-0 in the end, and we played really well there in that sort of the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow formation that for you FIFA players out there. And that's maybe why we need so many midfielders. If you're going to have that many midfielders in the starting 11, then you're going to have a big squad full of them. And I think that's where Lampard's going to be coming from, if he's going to be keeping the likes of Danny Drinkwater and also Billy Gilmore. There was plenty to discuss in the midfield front. Of course, so many names going around the club right now. And then on to the wingers, where in my opinion it is also pretty goddamn simple. There's also one name I want to throw in there for you guys. In my opinion, we've got our four. We've got Willian, we've got Pedro, we've got Pulisic, and then of course we have Callum Hudson-Odoi. Will he be taking a number 10 shirt or will it be Pulisic? That's another discussion for another day. But those are our four wingers in my opinion. But it's this situation again. Hudson-Odoi is injured. Is there a winger who steps in? In my opinion, that man is Kennedy. He's really impressed Lampard so far in this pre-season tour, in my opinion. It's another one like Drinkwater, where I'm not sure how well he's actually been playing, but he's definitely caught Lampard's eye. So, in my opinion, we could be seeing Kennedy as a Chelsea player this season. How exciting and interesting would that be, guys? I think that was a really unexpected one. And when I saw him in the pre-season squad, I was like, oh yeah, Kennedy's back. But now I actually do think Kennedy could be a winger sub for us this season. I'm actually seeing Kennedy come on as a left winger at Old Trafford. It's the sort of stuff that's going to be happening this season. Weird old players coming back in and getting their chances. How well we're going to perform, I'm not sure. I think there's some of the signs are already there for what could be a worrying season. But if we get our starting lineup right, that I'll get on to in the end, then we could have a decent season. But yeah, I could see Kennedy staying. If Hudson-Odoi recovers nice and quick, I feel as if Kennedy could be loaned out or sold. But as of now, I think Lampard is certainly considering keeping Kennedy as our fourth winger. And then on to strikers, which is again pretty simple, the way it was with the goalkeepers. We've got three in Giroud, Abraham and Batshuayi, and in my opinion, all three are going to be staying. Sort of the similar reasons I mentioned earlier, if we're going to be playing that 4-1-2-1-2 shape, you definitely need at least three strikers in your squad. Maybe Pedro can chip in there too, and that would leave a bit more space for Kennedy on the wings, like I mentioned. But yeah, I can see all three staying at the club, and hopefully they can get a few goals between them, because we definitely look like we're struggling for goals right now in pre-season. Of course, all that should change. When the likes of Hudson-Odoi, Willian come back, all of our key creators, Loftus-Cheek. We need these guys back in our team, in my opinion. For those of you panicking about some of our pre-season results, the teams we're putting out there are just nowhere near good enough. If we were playing that team in the Premier League every week, we'd probably finish around about 14th, in my opinion. So, for right now, I just can't wait for some of our players to come back. Rudiger, Loftus-Cheek, Hudson-Odoi, Willian, all these guys. I'm really excited to see back on the pitch. Kepa included. Too many injuries, too many players away on sort of duties right now. I want the whole squad back so we can start forming the sort of squad I've just spoken about this season. I think there's still a few that need to go. Drinkwater, Zappacosta, Bakayoko, those are the sort of guys, in my opinion, that need to get out of here right now, because they're kind of dead wood, and they could be good, but they're not good enough. And I feel as if, we need to stop thinking about players that could be good and just look at them and say, they've had so many chances now, over 50 appearances at the club each, really. And it's just time to go. It's enough. We can get some money out of them, and that's that. We can start building a more younger and fresh squad for this season. So now I've been through each position, and I've kind of said, who I want to stay, who I want to go, and who we actually do think he's going to be staying and going. Now it's onto the lineup. Let's go through this, guys. I'm going to be doing this in a 4-2-3-1 shape, but I'll set it up like that, and then you guys can basically think about, what sort of formations you want us to play, because I'm not quite sure what one we are going to go with, but I think it will be the 4-2-3-1, so we'll start with that. Kepa and goal, in my opinion, pretty self-explanatory. Right back, I love Azpilicueta. I think it is important to have him in as a club captain, so I suppose I could go with him, but in my opinion, over the whole of the season when Reece James is back fit, we should be using Reece James. I know it's a big call, but I feel as if he suits it better, guys. I do. I'd go Reece James right back. Big call already. Left back, I'd go Emerson over Alonso. 110%. Two centre-backs was a really interesting one. I'd actually go with the pairing that Sarri used last year and the pairing that Sarri favoured. I know that's a weird one. Maybe you guys was probably expecting me to put in either Zuma or Christensen, but I haven't. I've gone for Rudiger and Luiz. In my opinion, those are our two best centre-backs and the two centre-backs that work for us right now. Lampard always mentions how he wants to move the ball out quick from the fence. That's Luiz all over, guys, and he does that perfectly. Into the midfield, I've got a big old dilemma in the two CDM spots. Between Jorginho, Kovacic and Kante. Kante has to be in there for me, and so does Jorginho kind of, but for me Kovacic has been excellent for Chelsea, and I feel as if we need him big time in that midfield to bring the ball out of the fence for us. So I suppose I'll go with Kante and Jorginho, but I would not be unhappy to see Lampard try out games where maybe he uses Jorginho and Kovacic, or even Jorginho and Kante. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to see what Lampard does there. I'd definitely rotate those three a lot, though. That is what I would say, because in my opinion, Kovacic, Kante and Jorginho, that's a very, very strong trident. Into the central attacking midfielder spot for me, it has to be Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think that Bartley's going to get a good opportunity again to prove himself this season. Same thing we said for Mason Mount. You know, Lampard's a big admirer of him, so he's going to be getting a lot of chances too. But you know, I think we've forgotten about how good Loftus-Cheek is because he's had this injury. The guy's an absolute beast, so he has to be in the cam spot for me. On the right wing, I would go for either Pulisic or Willian. I think we need to wait to see what sort of state Willian's in. I mentioned how important he could be for Lampard this season. So yeah, I would wait to see how Willian is, and then after that I'd make the decision on who to start at the right wing, either Pulisic or Willian. And then when Hudson-Odoi comes back fit, I'd have to start him at left wing. I feel as if once we get this squad back, guys, because right now in pre-season we're playing with like Casey Palmer on the right, Kennedy on the left, and Mason Mount in cam, and it's all right. It's a nice fresh young attack, but I'm not going to lie, I'm buzzing to see the likes of Pulisic, Willian, you know, Hudson-Odoi, Loftus-Cheek, all these names right in action for us. And up front, as of now, I'd go for Olivier Giroud. I really want to see what Giroud can do as a full season. Again, it'd be a position I'd want to rotate. I want to see what Batshuayi can do. I want to see what Abraham can do too. I feel as if all three have a massive role for us to play this season. But say the Man U game was tomorrow, this is the lineup I'd go for, I reckon, if the whole squad is fully fit. Of course, we're waiting for some players to come up from injury now. That's why we mentioned, you know, some are going to be staying to fill in the void of the injuries. But when our squad is fully fit, say that we got to the Champions League final at the end of the season, this on screen right now will be the lineup I would play. Controversial, I reckon in a month's time we'll probably have changed a couple of those opinions, but yeah, very fresh, very young, very exciting, lots of opportunities for other players in there, guys. And what I would say is for those of you Chelsea fans, you know, worrying about pre-season, maybe you clicked on this video to see what could our squad look like next season with that starting lineup, and then with players on the bench such as, you know, Christensen, Azpilicueta, Marcos Alonso, you've got Kovacic in there, you've got Mason Mount, you've got Ross Barkley, you've got Willian, you've got Pedro, you've got Kennedy maybe, you've got Batshuayi, you've got Abraham. We're going to be fine, guys, we are. It just looks dodgy right now in pre-season because we're missing some big names. I personally agree with you guys, it's a little bit worrying, isn't it? But I'm just saying to myself, be patient, because when you put it on paper at some of the teams we could be lining up with next season, it is exciting stuff. We've just got to wait for a few players to come back, we've just got to wait for some fitness to come back, and for Lampard's philosophy to be ingrained in the squad, really. And then we're going to be high-flying, guys. I do believe that. It's an exciting squad, it just doesn't look like it right now. There are players who aren't good enough, and I mentioned that, who've got to go. Drinkwater, Bakayoko, Zappacosta out. It's scary, though, how I feel they could be staying. But yeah, I've been through my squad, I've been through my starting lineup. That's all I've got to say for you guys today. Drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. Let me know what your starting lineup would be over the course of the whole season. You know, forgetting my injuries right now, forgetting my everything, just with the players we've got available, who would you start in that 4-2-3-1 shape? I've been through mine, let's hear yours. I'll see you guys a lot later than usual, actually, because I'm going to be going away now for a bit. But once I'm back, we'll be straight into the thick of things, you know, the Premier League season starting, La Liga season starting, then the international break will come around, we'll start discussing Spain a little bit more. Plenty to discuss in the upcoming weeks. I'll see you guys then. Until then, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.